wood grain bars in a slab mold. In this video, you won't hear nothing in the background. My husband was watching TV, so I had to edit everything out. You want to start with a slow-moving recipe. This is what I used. I'm using a 9-bar slab mold from Workshop Heritage. You could make your own mold out of a box and then line it. So whatever you want to do. First, heat up your hard oils and butters. And what I'm using is coconut oil, cocoa butter, and shea butter. Mix up your lye water solution. These are the essential oils that I'm using, just to smell like a tree. Measure out your essential oils and put them in the EO calculator. Make sure you're using the right amounts. I'm using about 4%. Now you want to add your olive oil and your castor oil. Now my oil temps have cooled down to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm mixing in my essential oils. And now I'm adding just 1 teaspoon of cocoa butter to the entire batch to give it a brown color. I have my mixer on low setting and I'm just kind of pulsing it till you no longer see the oils on top. You can kind of look at the end of that, and if you see little like spots, it means it's not mixed well enough. You do want a light trace to pour this with. Now I'm just mixing another little container with some more cocoa powder just to make it a little bit darker. Now I'm doing black walnut hull and some cocoa butter in this little container, just to give it those little spots and texture look. And here's some more darker cocoa butter or cocoa powder. So most of my batter is that one brown color. Can't really see it at this angle. Those other little cups are only about less than half of what it's filled to. So now I'm just waiting for light trace. So my mold is elevated on top of a tape measure just to tilt it so I'm not making too big of a mess. Anytime you pour at light trace, you're going to have little drips and you're going to have a mess. So make sure that you put a rubber mat or something down to protect your countertops. And I'm just pouring the color inside this pitcher. And I'm going to alternate, but pour down the side of the pitcher so it doesn't all mix together, because this is light trace. So I'm just pouring down the side of the pitcher so it sits on top. And you can pour it any way you want in the pitcher. It's going to give the same look. So I went on one side, on the other side. And it's easier also to use these lawn spout pitchers just to get it poured inside your mold. The other ones you got to tip too much, and they're just a lot easier to pour. And you're just pouring down the side of the wall. So just pour down the side of the mold, back and forth. And this batch here, I could have went a little bit thicker. And what I'm doing now, I'm just making the little knots in the wood. And just kind of hold it in one spot and let it sit there for a minute. And then continue going back and forth. And I didn't do that at the beginning. But I'm going to flip my mold around later in this video and put some knots on the other side. Now I'm just lowering it a little bit. So just be really careful. You don't move your mold too much. And I just have a little cookie cutter now I'm going to put that's shorter. And I'm going to put that underneath for now because the tape measure was too tall. And continue on by filling your pitcher. And you could also do this in a loaf mold, but you're going to have to cut your bars different. So it's pretty much the same technique in a loaf mold, but you got to cut them the other way instead of straight up and down. Just making more little knots just to give it some contrast. And now this is where I'm going to lower it even more. And I'm almost out of soap. Just cleaning up each pitcher. And when you use these long pitchers like this, make sure you don't tip it too much or it'll just go right over the nose there. Just really slow lift it up and let a little bit pour out at a time. That's why you need a slow moving recipe so things aren't set up too quick. Now I'm just really carefully flipping it around just so I can put some knots on the other end. When I first started, I wasn't doing that, so I'm just going to start pouring on this end just to give it a different look. Now I'm putting my dividers in. I let it sit up for a little bit before I put those in. And now I'm setting my oven to 170 degrees. I cover it up, put it inside about 15 minutes, and then turn it off. This is how it came out. There was a lot of ash on top. I planed off the top, and then I cleaned this up with the soap router using that design. And this was the end result. Thanks for watching.